Hello, everybody. It's me, Tony Rizzano. Today's episode is going to be a bonus episode. We are bringing you two segments from the past. I am at the hospital with my wife. We are having a baby, so today I'm a little tied up, but we'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode, and yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. And as always, everybody, peace and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Rizzano, and this is the Affiliate Party Podcast. Today, we're coming to you live from my house. I'm looking at a bunch of books. I'm going to talk to you about a few books that I've read in the last couple months that can help you out. They help me out. One book I read is Meet Inc. by Gene Simmons. Strange as that sounds. It was a very good book, actually. I enjoyed it a lot. Gene Simmons had a lot of good business ideas. It's still strange to me. I've never listened to a Kiss song a day in my life, but I've read a Gene Simmons book, so that's cool. Last year I read a book called Secrets of the Millionaire's Mind by T. Harv Eker, and that was a good book. That book just showed you how you need the mindset to get going on your business. Another book that I read, kids, that helped me out, was a book called Indistractable by Nir Eyal, Nreyal. I'm very easily distracted sometimes. I can be easily distracted, and this book had a few tips and tricks that you can not be so distracted. You definitely need that if you want to be in affiliate marketing. If you want to start writing blog posts, because how can you sit there for an hour and write a blog post if you can't sit still for 5 minutes without looking at your phone and getting distracted and everything else? Another book I read, I enjoy Secrets of the Millionaire's Mind. And another book that I read is by Dan Kennedy. It's called Almost Alchemy. That was a very good book. It was a short book. It's a very short book, but you can read it in in less than a week. And that book had a lot of good information. So those are 3 books that I read that I definitely would say you should check out. But there are plenty of books that you can read. Plenty of books. Oh yeah, one more book. Another book that I read, Stephen King on writing. Basically, Stephen King said about writing, just start writing. Just start writing. That's basically what the theme of the book. I mean, his story was very interesting. Very interesting how he got started and how he just started writing books. But at the end of the day, he said, hey, just take action and start writing, which I can definitely go with that, because sometimes you get frozen in a lot of things, overthinking, you get frozen in fear. But yeah, Stephen King he basically just said, just shut up and write. Just get to it. So I appreciate that, Mr. Stephen King. And yeah, then another book I read was by Stephen Pressfield about resistance and fighting the resistance in your body. I read that book about 3 years ago, which actually, no, 4 or 5 years ago probably. And that really got me started down this slope of trying to get away from my 70-hour week job while I'm gone all the time. So, and it helped me sort of start thinking about being a writer or becoming a writer. Just start a writer. Well, I am a writer, but making it into a full-time career. So that was a good book. So those are just 4 books. And before I go, I just want to say, don't give up. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Even if you think Even if you think you're not making progress, as long as you make some progress every day, it'll be okay. There's no such thing as the finish line. You just get better. You just improve every day. As long as you're on this earth, improve, improve, improve. There's no finish line. This is not a race. It's not a sprint. I mean, I know we all want to make changes, so don't. What I'm trying to say is don't make a bad decision trying to make a quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick fix. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the investment. You have to put your heart into it. I know that's not, it's not gonna help some of you people, but you just have to keep going. You just can't really. It's not nothing's quick. I've learned that quickly. I've learned that in the short time that I started affiliate marketing. Once I get the leverage that I'm looking for, then it'll be easier, but it's never going to be easy. It's never going to be quick. It's never going to be a quick fix. I really wouldn't even want it to be a quick fix, really. I like to put in the work. I'm not saying work yourself to death, but you have to just be strategic, do your research, do your homework. You'll make it work. All right? That being said, that's it for today. I got to go help my wife with the groceries. So, I'm Tony Rosano. This is the Affiliate Party Podcast. And until we talk again tomorrow, everybody, let's say it all together. Peace. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Affiliate Party Podcast. Now, let's all go back in time. Let's take a step into the DeLorean, huh? Let's go back in time. Now, do you remember when you was in elementary? Let's all go back. Elementary, you had a teacher. She was very exciting. She had things very fun. It was entertaining, you learned something, And then think about the most boring, the most dry talking, listening to teacher that you ever had in elementary. I already know mine. One of the most entertaining people I had was in the 5th grade, Miss Wagley. Miss Wagley was great. She was entertaining. I mean, we did a talk on drugs. She made these faces. I mean, she made faces so good, I couldn't help but to laugh. And then she said, "This is a very serious subject, sir. You shouldn't be laughing." I said, "Sorry, Miss Wagley." But I couldn't help. She's very entertaining. And then the next year, the teacher was very, she's very dry. She's very boring. She wasn't a lot of fun, I mean, of course, like the last day of school, every teacher's a bag of laughs then, but for the whole year she wasn't fun at all. So that's my most exciting was 5th grade, and most boring was 6th grade, So, but for you, just think about it. Now, of course, you learn from both, but I remember the 5th grade a whole lot more than I remember the 6th grade. And I'm a 41-year-old man. So there you go. Now, what does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with business? Now, we've all seen these people on TV. We'll say a guy like Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer's, he's very entertaining. I watched the show once, Mad Money. I mean, I know a little bit about the stock market. I'm not a Wall Street tycoon. I don't claim to be. I watched the show. It was entertaining. And I thought, this guy, he must know his stuff, But then one day I've watched a few shows about corrupt companies, kind of shady companies. And who's always giving them the thumbs up? Jim Cramer. I'm like, is Jim Cramer more of an entertainer than he is information? And I had to put 2 and 2 together. And I thought, well, I could watch Mad Money and be entertained, but I don't think I'm gonna put in. I might not put a lot of stock in Jim Cramer. I'm not sure, I would have to do more research before I came to a final conclusion. But right now, it's looking like 75 entertainment, and I guess if Jim Cramer gives you some information, maybe you should do the opposite, But Jim Cramer's he's a entertaining information person, but who knows if the information is good or not, but it's up to you. And there's plenty of other examples about people that are, kind of, when they talk, it's pretty dry, it's pretty boring, but they're informative, you know what I mean? So you have to give a little bit of both. Now, when I say entertaining, I don't mean you have to go, you don't have to become you don't have to become Henny Youngman, you don't have to be Henny Youngman, you don't have to be Jack Benny, you just have to be yourself, If you have a sort of dry sense of humor, then just do that, If you are more, outspoken, outgoing, then be that, just be who you are, I mean, of course, we all have to, you can't just be, it's sort of like reality TV. They are who they are, but then they just sort of, well, I shouldn't say, no, I'm not going to say reality TV. I'm gonna take it back to wrestling. I used to watch a lot of wrestling, and I listened to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast, and he was like, "Hey, I was just being me. I just had to crank it up to a volume of 10." And I was like, "Huh, that's good. That's good to know, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Thank you." So I have to be who I am, Just you have to crank it up a little bit, I mean, if you saw me walking down the street, if you said, "Hey, Tony, I enjoy your podcast," I would say, "Hey, thanks," and we would chat a little bit, but I wouldn't be like, "Hey, yeah, mama," I mean, I wouldn't do that, I would go, "Hey, thanks," I would say, "Hey, how are you? What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. We would make conversation, then we would go on about our business. But I get on the podcast, I realize, I had to be entertaining, I had to be informative, but you also got to be yourself. See, so you want to do it. You want to put those three things into a pot, pour a little water in it, mix it with I'll put a little cinnamon in it because I love cinnamon myself. But whatever ingredients you want to use, put it in there, and then voila, there you go. Now, of course, you want to be informative. You want people to learn something every time you discuss things. That's one thing. That's why now I do a little more. You might not think this, people, but I do a little more research into this podcast. Try to figure things out before I just hit the record button and start recording. It's the method to the madness around here at the Affiliate Party Podcast, huh? And of course, but no, yeah, you don't want to be paint. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to be paint, You don't want to be 100% entertaining. You want people to learn every time that they listen to the podcast. You want them to learn something, and every time that that you talk, I just said that. Never mind. Anytime you do a podcast, you want them to learn something. You want the people to think about something when they, once they get done listening. And of course, if you listen to this podcast every day, because we come at you every day, I want you to listen, give it a few thoughts, and then apply to what. I'm gonna tell you this: when you listen to this podcast, what I want you to do is take things that you might learn from this podcast, apply them to your business, and keep going. And the one thing that I will always tell anybody is just keep moving your feet. You might not know the direction you're going. Sometimes the direction might change a little bit, but when you listen to this podcast is about, even though this podcast is the Affiliate Party Podcast and it has to do with affiliate marketing, this is about any kind of business that you want to get started. I want you to just move your feet, because as long as you keep moving your feet, you will find what you're looking for and things will happen. You have to put in the work, though. It's not a magic pill, unfortunately, we have to take. It's not a magic pill. You have to keep going. You'll find it, But yeah, that's the whole goal of this. This should be the whole goal of anything that you listen to these days. Matter of fact, anything that you watch, when you start getting deeper into it, anything you watch, anything you listen to, you can always sort of think about it. Put your marketing hat on, put your entrepreneur hat on, and apply things and apply the things that you watch and you listen to your business. You know, it doesn't have to be a marketing book. It doesn't have to be a business book. It doesn't have to be any of that. You can watch TV. You can watch a TV show. You can watch a movie, and you can think about the thing in the movie, and you can go, you know what? That's good for my business. Because a couple months ago, I watched Shawshank Redemption, and I watched this movie 50 times. 50 times. I love that movie. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite movies. I can't say it's my favorite, but it's one of my favorite movies. I listened to this, and then I sat there a couple months ago, and Red was talking to Andy, and he was talking about, well, do you think you'll ever get out? And Red said he was institutionalized, and it just hit me. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, man. I said, I feel kind of institutionalized when it comes to my job, you know? Because I'm used to driving, 15 years of driving trucks, you know? I'm used to that, and I'm moving away from that, you know? And I thought about that, and I applied it to marketing, and I made that into an email, I think. Yeah, I wrote an email about it, you know. It was a pretty good email. I'm going to have to keep that email and do a little recycling of that email, you know. But things like that, you know. So now every time I listen to a radio show, anytime I listen to a podcast, I watch TV, watch a movie, I go, okay, they entertaining me, but I'll take a little notes, you know. I have a notebook I got, pull it out, take a few notes, keep those notes, you know. You can always use them. You can always use them for a podcast. You can always use them for a video, anything, you know. So, I mean, that's what's one. I know this is about being informative and entertaining, but you know, well, if you listen to this podcast, you know, sometimes we go down a different path, you know, because you can apply any and everything to a business. So, you know. Just take your life lessons and apply them to your business, and you'll be okay at the end of the day. All right, you know. But yeah, that's that. Be informative, be entertaining, and I mean, you don't have to. I'll tell you something. If you listen to this podcast, and sometimes when I start talking fast, my hand is just moving. I'm moving. My hands start moving. I get to going. So I hope you are entertained by this podcast, but I also hope you are informed by this podcast as well. So that's that. I've talked long enough. Oh yeah. Before I go, I will tell you. Before I go, I will give you a SEO tip. Okay. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages. Okay, so I told you the other day I wrote my pyramid scheme. I wrote my pyramid scheme article, put it on my blog, put it on my website, or whatever you want to say. So I put it on there. I use a tool called Yoast SEO. And Yoast lets you know if the readability of the article is good, and I also let you know if the keyword of the article is good. It'll give you a green dot. So when I first started, a lot of times it was orange, sometimes it was red. That means the SEO was bad. You know, SEO was bad, or the SEO was okay. You know, every time you write a post on your website, you want the SEO to be good on the Yoast. You know, because the better it is, the more the better the SEO is. If, you know, the green, the more people will be able to see it. You know. Now, I wrote this article. It was a 1,000-word article, 1,100 words, something like that. It don't matter. But I talked about pyramid schemes. So of course the title was pyramid schemes, and then the first of the article. Now, one thing you can't do is keyword stuff. So I didn't keyword stuff. But naturally, in the first sentence, pyramid schemes, you know, and the word pyramid scheme sprinkled throughout the article, so that helped. And then another thing that you have to do when you want to write a good article that can get ranked, you want to use different links. Like I clicked the link for a YouTube video about pyramid schemes on there. And then I'll put a link about a MLM on there. And then There's an article that I read about pyramid schemes. I linked that article to the article, so that helped me get the good SEO green dot on the Yoast. So that being said, if you ever want to write articles, always remember don't keyword stuff, because Google, the algorithms, they will find that and they will not rank your article high. But if you naturally do the keyword, of course, if you know what keyword you want to use, put it in the title, put it in the beginning of the article, and then just throughout the article, sprinkle it in, use some references. And then if you have articles that you have already written, you can always say, hey, reference this article. That's called, what is it called? Outbound or links, Now, the one thing I had to get down pat is backlinks. I haven't mastered backlinks yet, but I'm working on that. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that little information, that little SEO tidbit. Also, I have to get better at this with my podcast. If you do SEO with anything, like SEO for Medium, make sure you're using keyword. Make sure the keyword you use in the title, you have it in your article, and make sure you have it sprinkled throughout the article, because Medium is a pretty good platform you can use if you want to write. If you don't have a website, and also people will find your articles online if they type in something, it could pop up. So that. And then you want, of course, SEO for the YouTube. If you do a YouTube channel, you want to use the SEO in the title. Then, of course, you sprinkle it out. If you talk in the beginning, say it in the beginning. Then, if you have a trailer, go to the trailer. Then, when you start the meat of the YouTube video, bring up the keyword again. Like I said, naturally do it. Don't stuff it. You'll figure it out. You will naturally. Once you get going, you will get into the habit of doing it naturally. I have gotten better at this with the articles I write. I have to get better at that with the podcast, and I have to get better at that with the YouTube videos. But practice, as we always say here. But that's it. I just want to give you that little tidbit. See, informative and entertaining. All right, there you go. But anyway, that's it for today. This is early podcast. It's early in the morning around here. It's 10 o'clock my time. But hey, I appreciate you listening. Come back again tomorrow. More hard-hitting podcast. I told you we're doing this every day for the next year straight. And then we might take one day off. All right? So far, so good. We've only missed like a couple of days of podcasting. But we're on the roll, everybody. All right? Once again, my name is Tony Rizzano. This is the Affiliate Party Podcast, and we will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, say it with me, everybody. Peace.